Will the Bills trade up for a wide receiver? It's been on my mind all offseason long. If you know my content, then you know that I'm constantly talking about the Bills. Well, I was talking about the Bills getting rid of Diggs and trading up for a wide receiver in the draft, or like Rome Odunze, for example, or trading for Ayuk, trading for Higgins, trading for Deebo Samuel. And a lot of people acted like that was a dumb idea. Like Diggs couldn't be moved. His dead cap was too crazy. Smitty, I can't believe, Smitty, you think that this is actually a possibility. Smitty, take a lap. Diggs is gone. Part of the equation's already been taken care of. Part of that impossible theory is already in play. Diggs is gone. And the Buffalo Bills have made it very abundantly clear that they're not done yet. They said it's April. It's not September. It's April. Judge us for what we put on the field in September, not in April. And right now on Instagram Live, Jaden Daniels, Malik Neighbors, and Brian Thomas Jr., BTJ, just got off an IG Live where they talked for about 55 minutes about a ton of different things. But one thing that was super interesting is the entire live stream, JD5 was continuously kind of like inside joking about the Buffalo Bills the entire time. He said, I know where you guys want to play. I know where BT, Brian Thomas Jr., wants to play. I know where Neighbors wants to play. One of you guys is shaking hands with Josh Allen. One of you guys is going to be in Buffalo. The entire live stream. JD5 continued to poke and prod about this. Now, he's got no control over where these guys go, but you wonder what information he has because he continued to talk about it the entire live stream. And even if it is just Brian Thomas Jr.'s desire, Neighbors' desire to play with Josh Allen, BT also made a comment like he doesn't want to go that late in the draft. Clearly, a trade-up would need to happen, right? For Neighbors, especially for Odunze. But I've got 3 video clips I'm going to show you. One that's about JD5 talking about his 40 time, and you're going to be blown away by this clip. The second clip is what I was just talking about and alluding to, the Brian Thomas Jr. Buffalo conversation and how Twitter caught fire during all of this, and everybody kept commenting while they were live. We're going to break it all down right now. The Fantasy Football Show begins now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios.
It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live!
Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com news desk, here is your breaking news.
So while this isn't a piece of breaking news that is floating around your typical news wire, this is important stuff because if you remember, your boy was live on Instagram chopping it up with Rachaad White right before the Baker Mayfield situation happened. If you remember, I went live with Rachaad White on Instagram. I talked to him about Baker. He said the Baker situation was going to be handled, that he was having dinner with them that very night. And literally hours later, Baker Mayfield signed his big contract extension. And that was with Rachaad White, if you guys remember. Sometimes these Instagram lives, these players have some indication what's going on, visits. It's not like JD5 knows that BT, Brian Thomas Jr., they call him BT, Brian Thomas Jr., his boy, his pal, his receiver, Neighbors, his buddy, his pal, JD5. This is a close, trio right here. BT, Neighbors, JD5. And it's not like JD5 has the keys to the cabinet and knows exactly where the script is and knows exactly what's going to happen. But these guys know where they're going, what visits they have scheduled, how many times they've gone back to a certain location. And JD5 kept poking around the Buffalo Bills will have one of these 2 wide receivers topic. He kept doing it. Let me play a clip here from this situation on IG.
Jaden Daniels, Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas via Instagram Live. Daniels says one of them is going to the Bills. Malik, his BT celebrating Brady's gonna be shaking hands with Josh Allen.
Woo!
We just on here having fun. You know, we just
wide receiver Malik Neighbor responds to the rumors that he is high maintenance on IG Live. You know they gotta pick somebody in this draft. I guess they just picked me.
So real quickly, listen to the first part of that one more time. Let me play this one more time. The Buffalo Bill part.
Jaden Daniels, Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas via Instagram Live. Daniels says one of them is going to the Bills. Malik.
So what he's referencing there is that they kept continuously poking at this, prodding at this, and at some point Twitter caught fire because he kept saying, Buffalo, you're shaking hands, one of you's announcing you're going to the Bills. And again, not suggesting JD has any information as far as what the Bills are going to do, but you wonder how many interviews these guys have had, how much conversation has been had. And you also, I do have this weird gut feeling the Bills are going to make a big splash at wide receiver. I don't think they're going to try and go the way of Mahomes and KC and give this man nobody, or go after some second round wide receiver, or even a receiver at number 28 overall, which I love Leggett, if Leggett landed in Buffalo at 28, if like that was what we were talking about, or Keon Coleman, you could say. A.D. Mitchell, there's definitely some options on the table, but I really believe if it's not a Debo and Ayuk trade, that it will be a trade up. It'll be an Adunze or Brian Thomas Jr. or Neighbors, but type of move. And there are plenty of teams that want to move down inside the top 7, 8 overall, even 9. Chicago is still a team that would be very tempted to trade 9. They can say we're no longer interested in trading 9, or the reports are saying they're no longer interested in trading 9. That's because they haven't had the right offer come along. But Chicago could trade away their number 9 in a Brian Thomas Jr. attempt by the Buffalo Bills. They give up some other draft capital. They move up to number 9. The Chicago Bears are very tempted to move down. The Giants, if they don't get their quarterback, maybe they will move down. Maybe they would rather move down. The Chargers have already been very abundantly clear that they don't have a direction necessarily they're going. It could be tackle. It could be Neighbors. They might address this deep wide receiver pool later on. Brock Bowers is certainly going to be in the conversation as well. The Arizona Cardinals, Monty Austinfort said, unfortunately, and I'm a Cardinal fan, I'm in Arizona, and this is true, he said they're open for business. And he even went as far as to say they turned the light on. He's like, they turned the light on to trade this pick. If anybody wants it, it's available. It wasn't like, oh, well, listen to offers. But no, he's like, we're business is booming. Business is open. Trade season's here. He was excited to talk trade number 4 overall. So the Bills moving up to 4 to get MHJ even, or Neighbors, or Brian Thomas Jr. somewhere in this territory, it's on the table. And I just have this weird, I've had this weird feeling all day long. I've had this weird feeling all week long that the Bills are going to make a big splash at the wide receiver position. They're not going to leave it this way. I've had a funny feeling all offseason long that Diggs was going to be gone and they would make this move. This is the second part of it. And this conversation is not a big component here. I'm not trying to suggest that JD5 has the blueprint, okay? I'm not an idiot. But he was poking around at Buffalo so much that you got to think there's something going on, even on the smallest scale of like interest being shown by the teams, or both these guys had a certain conversation. But why is JD5 continuously poking at them for 55 minutes about the Buffalo Bills? You tell me. Here's another clip about JD5, and that JD5 runs a 4.25 40. And remember, he didn't run, and everybody said maybe because his time wouldn't have been good. Listen to JD5 with this.
4.28. When I was up there training for my 40, I ran a 4.25.
I ran
a 4.33 official.
So JD5 ran a 4.25, he said, when he's preparing for the 40. Whew, can you imagine if he put that on the books? I mean, he might go number 1 overall. Thank God he didn't run it. I don't want Chicago. Yeah, so and let me go back to that screen. Let me just make sure I...
4.28. When I was
Sorry, I wanted to clear that so I remembered. I look, I believe him. He's 210. He says he's 210. This is a likable guy. Like for 55 minutes, you just see this man talking. Just such an articulate guy, having a lot of fun, a lot of confidence. He bleeds confidence. But when he says something, I believe it. This is not a guy that fabricates information. He says he's 210 pounds. People talk about that all the time. People say he's too small or this or that. He laughs at him. His elbows, something's wrong with his elbow. He's laughing. He's like, he knows he's a top 1 to 2 overall pick. Had he run a 4.25, let me play this clip one more time. Had he run a 4.25, he might be going number 1 overall to the Chicago Bears. Thank God he didn't.
4.28. When I was when I was up there training for my 40, I ran a 4.25.
I ran a 4.33 official.
A 4.25. Thank God he didn't run the 40. Thank God he didn't run the 40. Here's another thing that was crazy. Caleb came up. They started talking about crying. Caleb came up, and they went in a direction where JD5 was poking around at Neighbors because Neighbors cries a lot, apparently, which is not a problem. And I've made abundantly clear on this channel that I don't care if somebody cries. You cried during the Super Bowl loss. Players cry all the time. Jordan cried when he win a title. Not a big deal. It's all about how a quarterback handles himself at the end of a game, and if he crawls into his mom's lap in the fetal position. Anybody that thinks I have a problem with any of these players crying, I don't, and I'm not trying to clown on Neighbors on this, but it was a funny exchange where after everybody was tagging Caleb in the chat, and then they all started laughing, and they were like, be good. They were all like kind of, I don't know where it was going. You could be the judge for yourself if you were watching it. I'm not going to play the whole clip, but it was a funny sequence, and I'll play that for you real quickly. This was actually pretty funny.
Boy, Lee cried after Wisconsin, and he cried after A&M. I remember A&M.
They're clowning on Malik for crying.
Malik's at the bottom left.
Tagging Caleb earlier.
You cried after A&M. Yeah, I was broke. That boy cried while he was catching. That boy cried while he caught a touchdown. I never seen nothing like that. I never seen nothing like that, bro. I faked it. I ate the Lika crybaby, basically.
Oh.
There was, again, nothing negative on that. I wasn't trying to suggest that Neighbors is a crybaby like JD5 was saying, but it was a funny exchange because then it started to get into like Caleb, and then there's some Caleb talk, and then everybody started tagging Caleb, and then when somebody tagged a fake Caleb that everybody knows that's a really funny account, and they all started laughing on it, and then everybody started to trying to get Caleb in the chat. Anyway, it was a crazy sequence. It was a funny live stream. There was a lot that went down, and Twitter was going nuts, live in action. People just tweeting. They weren't video clipping it like that, but they were tweeting live saying these guys are on there. They're talking Buffalo. JD5 keeps saying Buffalo. JD5 says he runs a 4.25 40. This just happened like 17 minutes ago. So this is the only show out that you will find that's live on this topic. Not that it's got a lot of big crazy things to it, but it was a very, very, I mean, you're talking about 3 top 15 overall players on a live stream on IG, chopping it up. Brian Thomas Jr. was in the bottom right corner. It was a black screen the entire time because he was sleeping, and so he didn't want to show himself. But they were chopping it up, but it was just a lot of information to come at you in 55 minutes. They were trying to get Malik Neighbors to 100K on IG. They got Brian Thomas Jr., they call him BT. They got BT to 30K on IG, and it was just a funny little sequence of events. But what I really gathered from it, to be honest with you, is JD5 is just he's a leader of men. And I know you could say that this conversation I just truly believe these two guys, they absolutely love this guy and adore him. And he clearly has been like a big brother to them. Their banter is amazing. None of the stuff they were making fun of each other anyone was taking personally. But JD5 just commands respect. I love JD5. The fact that he ran a 4.25, the fact that he was talking about it, the fact that he didn't even care. to run and put that down on paper. That could have helped his draft stock. He didn't. I don't know why he sat out. I don't know why he did that. I know a lot of the people talking about his elbow is another thing that just doesn't bother him. Nothing bothers him. This guy's going to be absolutely a monster at the next level. And I tried to get them to respond to a couple comments that I threw in the chat, like, are you going to Washington? Do you want to go to Washington? Hey, neighbors, would you rather go to Indy if they traded up for you or go to the Chargers at 5? I think Brian Thomas Jr. is meeting. He met with the Jets, he said, and he says he's going to another team in New York. And he wouldn't say where. So, some people are thinking he's going to Buffalo. Some people think he's going to the Giants. Either way, Brian Thomas Jr. is going to New York tomorrow. Apparently in a couple hours, he's getting picked up and taken to New York. So he's headed to New York. And that's maybe where the Buffalo Bill prodding and poking was coming from. Because JD5 knows maybe he's going to Buffalo tomorrow. He could be going to the Giants. I don't know. He could be going to the Giants, but it was definitely, I believe, on the mind of JD5 to continuously talk about Buffalo. So it's totally on my mind. And I just wanted to come on here with those clips, show you guys those clips, and really just have a conversation about, I think something's happening. And your boy told you that Diggs was going to get traded. Your boy told you that Diggs is wearing his welcome out. I said this from the beginning of the middle of the year. This is a problem. They need to cut the dead weight. Even if Diggs has a year left, he doesn't have a year left in Buffalo because he wasn't trying anymore. He didn't want to be there. He was dead weight. So in order to be free, he had to be cut free. Maybe he can thrive for one more year in Houston, and that could be great for Stroud, but he wasn't going to do it in this situation, and he was only holding him back. It was kind of like having a useless finger that you're trying to keep on your hand, and it's hampering the entire hand. It's time to cut it loose, and they cut him loose. And this is what your boy told you. I have a really strong feeling that this wide receiver room vacancy is going to get addressed in a big way, in a monster way. And I think it's going to happen via either Brian Thomas Jr., Neighbors, Odunze. Imagine if they moved up to 4 and got MHJ. No one's even talking about that. No one's even talking about that the Cardinals very apt to trade this pick, very eager to trade this pick. Monty Ossenfort would love to trade this pick. I don't know why. I don't know why he wants out of it. But no one's talking about what if Buffalo gets crazy and leapfrogs everybody into the top spot that could get Marvin Harrison Jr. because he's not going 1, he's not going 2, he's not going 3. Marvin Harrison Jr. at this stage in the game can only go number 4 overall because New England and Washington are no longer in the business of trading out of that pick. They want their quarterback. Arizona is the prime position for somebody to come in, leapfrog everybody, loophole style, and take Marvin Harrison Jr. And who's to say Buffalo doesn't get crazy? Who's to say Buffalo doesn't get nuts? Who's to say Buffalo doesn't at least take stabs at all these picks and goes, okay, 4, too expensive. 5, too expensive. 6, New York doesn't know what the hell they want to do. Maybe they can get New York. Probably not going to happen. But if it did, whatever. 7, 8, 9, Chicago. Chicago's definitely capable of moving the pick. Where's Brian Thomas Jr. going to fall? Well, Odunze's probably going in the 6 to 10 range. So Brian Thomas Jr. probably going in the 12 to 18 range. Bengals would be crazy to pass on Brian Thomas Jr. Maybe one of these teams in here trades with the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo gives a second, something else. Who knows what the deal ends up being. And they solve this problem and they go get BT. They go get BTJ, Brian Thomas Jr. And Brian Thomas Jr., make no mistake about it, 17 touchdowns last year. Most touchdowns out of all wide receivers at the college level. No one talks about it. Why? Because Neighbors was so good. And I'm not saying Neighbors isn't a good receiver. I'm not saying Neighbors can't be wide receiver 1 if he's in the right spot. But if you think that, if you can say that Neighbors could be better than MHJ in the right spot, in the same sentence, you better be able to say Brian Thomas Jr. in Buffalo could be as good as anybody on the board. You have to be able to entertain that thought because Josh Allen's proven that he can take somebody to an elite level. And Brian Thomas Jr., a 17 touchdown go-getter last year, would fit the bill. It'll be amazing. It'll be amazing. I really believe this is going to come true. I have a really good feeling if it's not a trade like Ayuk or Higgins or Debo, I really believe it's going to be something. If Monty Ossenfort doesn't pick MHJ, the Cardinal fans will not be Cardinal fans. Bro, you don't even know. Cardinal fans are so fickle anyway. I don't even know that they'd understand, to be honest with you. About 70-60% of the Cardinal fans are fair weather. Arizona's full of transplant people, so nobody's about 70% of the fan base is not, hasn't been here from the beginning anyway. They're transplants from another city, from Canada, from Arizona's a transplant state. And there's not a lot of, most people you meet in Arizona, they weren't born here. It's just the way Arizona is. People transport over here, the weather, everything. And the fan base, I don't even know that they understand how good Marvin Harrison Jr. is, to be honest with you, bro. I don't think they realize what half the fan base doesn't know. Half the fan base doesn't know how good he is. And so this is going to get interesting. It's going to get interesting. Phone lines are open. Dial in, dial in, dial in.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Dial in, dial in, dial in. No one's talking about this right now, by the way, guys. Nobody. They're talking about it on Twitter, but no one's going live on this stuff. I know, it doesn't tickle everybody's fancy to talk about rumors and conjecture. I get it. But that's what we're here to do. And I take great pleasure in speculation. I take great pleasure in calculated, educated guessing when it comes to NFL news, NFL draft, NFL rookies, NFL free agency, projecting trades, projecting player stats, projecting records, wins and losses, Super Bowl winners, division winners. I take great pride in the prediction business across the board, whether that's who gets traded, who gets drafted, who gets signed, who outscores who in fantasy. That is my job. And if you don't like rumors or smoke, if they don't tickle your fancy like they do majority of the people in here, there's no need to be here right now. You can come back when things are more finite, and that's fine. But we are here to discuss the Bills getting a big name rookie. And that is what tonight's show is about. The Bills trading up in the 2024 NFL draft to move this 28 overall pick, whether it costs a future first rounder to do it, whether it costs second rounders to do it, whatever the case may be. We're here to discuss what the Bills could potentially do and how they can win a Super Bowl as quickly as possible. And you can say the Bills aren't capable of it. You can say that they're gonna crap the bed at the end of the day. You can say whatever you want, but as the Bills organization and brass has come out and asked the fan base to judge them on September and not April, I think you should do the same. Andy, what is up? You're live.
What's up, Smitty? Good to see you or talk to you. The Bills are a mess. What the heck are they doing? What is going on? I mean, they're going to bring in a rookie, or what is? That's ridiculous.
Why is that ridiculous?
Because they had a legit chance to win a Super Bowl.
Okay.
And that opportunity is rare, right? That's very rare in the NFL. A lot of teams go through a lot of years with no chance. And
okay.
You can say what you want about Diggs, but he still demands a double team. Maybe he's an idiot. So many NFL players are idiots.
Bro, Diggs did nothing the entire second half of the season. And I don't know how much you watched the Buffalo Bill games, but he became a liability. Josh Allen didn't need him. Josh Allen doesn't need him. Josh Allen had a 50 touchdown total by the end of the season through all the playoffs and the regular season. He had over 50 total touchdowns. Half of that entire season, the entire second half, Diggs had no real part or played no part or role in him being an absolute monster all year. So you could say what you want about Diggs, but it sounds like you're talking about this from the past, bro. They're moving forward, and also I don't know if you caught any at the beginning of the show, but we're talking about a big splash. Diggs doesn't hold a candle to the top 4 wide receivers in this rookie draft class at this stage in Diggs' game. Diggs is 30 years old, turning 31 this year, already lost a step, probably looking at an often injured injury-littered season. And if you take, let's say, a Dunze's a top 5 to 10 wide receiver in the making. Neighbors is a top 5 to 10 wide receiver in the making. Marvin Harrison Jr. is a top 1 to 5 wide receiver in the making. You called in and asked me, what are the Bills doing? The whole show's about, I think the Bills are up to something, and they're going to go solve and plug this hole, solve this problem, in my opinion, based on what I've presented tonight already, via a trade-up. This is not your dad's rookie, translation of wide receiver to the NFL type of situation, bro. This is where rookies go and translate immediately and shine, and this is the best rookie wide receiver class we've seen in a long time. So to answer your initial question, what are they doing? Fill it with the rookie? Yes, absolutely.
Well, I would say, the more I hear about rookies and see about rookies, the more in this draft, I want to acquire draft picks. I'm trying to trade for draft picks right now in my Dynasty leagues, even more than I have, to be honest, because I like even a lot of some of the running backs I think are underrated too.
So why don't you like the idea of Buffalo?
I like a lot of the rookies. I really do. I think they're crazy. A lot of them are really good.
But if you like them, why don't you think Buffalo is on the right track of cleaning up the problematic pieces? And granted, they have to fill a lot of holes. They definitely cut a lot of bait loose. But Diggs was not a positive piece of this offense. If you watch that final drive in the playoff loss, Josh Allen had Diggs wide open, and it was a shorter route across the middle of the field, and he decided to go into the end zone and throw a game-winning touchdown strike, which he got hit when he threw. The ball it fell short, but he didn't trust Diggs because Diggs dropped one of the most ridiculous, easily catchable footballs earlier in that game, and Josh Allen was done with them. And they gave him another shot, and what does he do? He hits Twitter, starts running his mouth again. He's a liability. He's a locker room problem, and then now they're done with him. They got rid of him. They're paying money to get rid of him. That's how bad he is. So I get what you're saying. He's an a-hole, whatever, but he's actually dragging the team down. And you could blame a lot of why the Bills didn't win on Diggs, because he's creating animosity within this roster, and he's been doing it for over 2 years. And if you talk to true Bills fans, bro, they say they're sick and tired of it. They're glad it's over. Because Josh Allen's having to manage this guy's feelings constantly, and he's saying things like he helped make Josh Allen. He's the one that made Josh Allen. Even if part of that is true, because they both had a hand in developing each other, it's not something you say about your quarterback. And not only that, Josh Allen had more to do with making Diggs than Diggs had to do with Josh Allen, and we're about to see why. And we also saw why already, because Diggs didn't have anything to do with Josh Allen's comeback tour, bro. The Bills were out of it. The odds of the Bills making the Super Bowl at a certain point late in the season was crazy. And Josh Allen put this team on his back. Diggs was not a part of it, and he launched them straight into the playoffs. And guess who wasn't happy? Diggs. Every time the camera went on him and they won a game, he looked pissed off because he wasn't getting the football.
I mean, I understand the Diggs hate, but I think it's a little. Diggs still has to be respected as a wide receiver. He's not this.
I don't think you're hearing me, Andy. I don't think you're hearing me. It doesn't matter.
I know. Maybe he's not 2 years ago, Diggs, but he's
Andy,
the one that the defense is planning for. Okay.
And Andy, I don't think you're hearing me though. He had nothing. He did nothing.
If they put just a cornerback in Houston, he's going to destroy it. Diggs is going to destroy it. They're not going to be able to double team him.
Andy, he didn't do anything all year. Andy, mid-season, he didn't do anything the rest of the season. He either A, completely dropped off or he gave up. So why would you want him on the Buffalo Bills? Either way, it's a lose-lose, Andy. I don't know what part of this doesn't make sense. If he stays in Buffalo, he's either washed up because he literally was amazing the first half of the year. I'm not running from that. But he was garbage. Absolutely trash from midseason on. All the way through the playoffs, Andy. He was a liability. He wasn't good. You say put him in front of a corner. No, Andy, he didn't do anything. You're not hearing me. And if this is all an act of him giving up and not wanting to be there, then he still needed to go. You need to set him free to let him free. Let him go be free and do good things for one more year, but he wasn't going to do it in Buffalo, Andy. He just proved it. So I don't agree with anything you said. I think in the past he was amazing, but you're living in the past. You're looking at Diggs' old self and what he used to do in Buffalo. But he played an entire half of his season giving up on this team, and they weren't having it. They tried to cut him a break, and what does he do? He starts running his mouth again in social media. They said, we're done. Get rid of him. Get rid of him. This guy can't keep his mouth shut. But anyway, Andy, I appreciate the call.
Okay.
I know you're hung up on the past with him, but I'm telling you, bro. And maybe he does okay. Maybe he does okay.
So far, I know he's like obviously. No, I don't want to. I wouldn't want to play with him or whatever. I wouldn't want to deal with it. But
let's see what he does in Houston.
Okay.
I'm glad he gets
okay,
a. I'm glad he gets a shot.
No,
in Houston.
I love talking about the wide receivers are good. So yeah, at 28 they'll probably get whoever. So Franklin or whoever.
They're trading up, Andy. I'm telling you.
It'll be interesting to see. But
all right, thanks,
all right,
Andy.
man.
Thanks, Andy. Later.
Bye.
Carl, you're live. I don't think.
Hey there.
I don't think
so
Andy.
in a Superflex, I'm sitting with the 103, and it's very likely to be Jaden Daniels. So I'm asking you, should I just go ahead and pick Jaden Daniels, or should I trade that away and probably get like a Joe Burrow or something?
Trade. You could get a Joe Burrow for the 1.3.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll tell you what. I do believe in Superflex Dynasty, JD5 could be better than Joe Burrow. It's possible. But you are expecting a lot, and there's a lot of moving parts to this. I think at every gateway that we approach, like the draft, right? Landing spot. Does he start week 1? Probably will. You don't take a guy second overall and not start him. Does he land in Washington? Where does he land? All those gateways are going to make it more of a likely yes, because there's a lot of moving parts, and those moving parts will get nailed down to 1 or 2 moving parts. So I think my answer to you is going to be take Joe Burrow now, but I just want to go on record here telling you that it's more complicated than that, especially as we get further into the offseason. It's kind of like someone asking me, Smitty, I can get the starting running back the number 1 running back right now in some weird league setting. If I say yes to this whatever trade, I get the top rookie running back no matter who it is, where he is. I would probably say something, just giving you an example of I don't know what that's going to look like. I could very much love it. Jalen Wright could go to the Dallas Cowboys. Braylon Allen could go to the Dallas Cowboys. But we don't have any. There's too many moving parts right now. But I think I could envision myself loving the Dallas Cowboy landing spot for a rookie running back. Let's say Trey Benson goes to Dallas, and then he becomes a top 4 overall rookie. So, where you're contemplating Trey Benson over Bowers. That's how good the running back could be, or it could be none of them are good. And Dallas could crap the bed again and draft Corum, who I don't like, or, Bucky Irving, who I like, but I don't think he's a workhorse, and I think he's too similar to Dowdle, and they all just kind of split it. I like Bucky a little bit, but I think Dallas could screw this up. So my answer to you is take Joe Burrow if you can get that straight up. I mean, he literally could be a top, 1 to 5 quarterback. But there is a world where JD5 is better than Lamar Jackson. And I've been touting that for a while. But it's a riskier move. The risk is all on that side. It's just maybe you get through that storm of different questions, and at the end of the day, JD5 standing, through getting through that storm. But there's a storm of variables that you got to get through. So I'm just letting you know, I could very well a couple months from now be like, JD5's better than, Joe Burrow. And you're going to be like, Smitty, you told me to take Burrow. But we just can't see the future, bro. I wish I could. They're both fantastic. But Joe Burrow is a super flex, you said? Joe Burrow's a tad safer right now.
Super flex.
Think about this. If you're in a dynasty startup, does Joe Burrow go before JD5? The answer is yes. So at the very least, you're getting more trade value right now, and you could flip it later if you wanted to, but you got to take Joe Burrow right now.
Okay, for sure. Thank you.
All right, bro. It's a good question. All right, hey, what do you think about the Bills? You think the Bills are going to trade? Oh, he hung up. If anybody else has a question, dial in. I'd love to talk about the Buffalo Bills, the likelihood they trade up for a wide receiver, a rookie in this draft class, get aggressive, not just wait for 28 overall. They certainly could wait for 28, get Leggett. It's a possibility. But at the end of the day, I really, really, really believe we're potentially looking at some huge splash. And I think Buffalo kind of telegraphed this in a way when you start hearing it from the top down that they don't want people to judge them in April. They want people to realize we are a ways away from the season. And what does that mean? We can't telegraph it, but we're just letting people know we're not done. Okay, we may have got rid of Diggs, but this is addition by subtraction. And at the end of the day, I think everybody here is going to be pretty happy with the wide receiver room. Think about this from other perspectives. Like the Arizona Cardinals, the wide receiver room looks really bland right now. How is it going to look when the Cardinals hit the field if, let's say, the Cardinals keep the 4 pick and draft Marvin Harrison Jr., and they've got McBride and Harrison Jr. and Connor and Kyler? All of a sudden, it's like it's one of the best quads in the NFL. So take a deep breath. If you're a Bills believer or fan like myself, my two teams are the Cardinals and the Bills. I am holding my breath that both these teams get their wide receiver problem solved. And I have a funny feeling the Cardinals are 50% likely to disappoint me to the point where I'm breaking something live on this show during the live draft. And I will be live the entirety of round 1 and round 2. What's up, Ron Navy? You're live.
It's funny. Your two teams are the Cardinals and the Bills. But let's say...
Why is that funny?
Let's say this comes... because this is the funny part. If the Bills and Cincinnati go to the AFC Championship, which one are you rooting for?
Oh, that is funny.
Exactly.
I don't know. Push comes to shove, I don't know what team I would root for, to be honest with you. I can honestly say that my fantasy football hat that I wear has put me in a position where I don't need to pick. I'm so good at rooting for different things. But this if I had to pick, I would say I don't know. It's 50-50 to me. I don't know. I'd just be happy to ever be put in position where I gotta choose one. Like I would. But here's the thing. I truly believe, like, if you go back to my Rachaad White, when I was live with Rachaad White, and some of the things he was saying, and if you go back and rewatch it, I don't know if anybody's seen it on my Instagram, but he's very coy. Oh, actually, I didn't have it recorded, but right? I didn't have it recorded because when I screen grabbed it, it didn't have the audio, so I only have the video of it. But if anybody was present during that live stream on Instagram, I did have the video, it just doesn't have audio. And so I have like my talking over it or whatever. But if anybody was present during that live stream, he was very coy about Baker, and he jumped around it in a very similar fashion that JD5 was constantly being coy about Buffalo. And when BT, Brian Thomas Jr., said he was going to New York, they asked him what New York. He's like, what New York? And he goes, you going to the Jets? And he goes, no. He's like, I already visited the Jets. And he's like, where else are you going? And the whole time he kept saying Buffalo this, Buffalo that, and he wouldn't say what team he was going to visit. And it might be the Giants that he's going tomorrow, and there might even be a report on Twitter that he's going to the Giants tomorrow. But I don't know, man. I just got the strongest vibe. And he kept saying, BT, you're going to shake Josh Allen's hand. BT, how you like Josh Allen? Hey, BT, you going to cry when you catch your first touchdown from Josh Allen? He kept saying it the entire 50-plus minutes. And I'm just telling you, like, I get weird vibes, and I'm pretty good at gut instincts with this stuff, especially reading people. That's why I love psychology so much, and why I try and bring psychology to the show a lot. I was getting a vibe that he was just so many inside jokes that he wanted to put out there but not explain about Buffalo. I just think there's a lot going on there. And again, he doesn't have like a script of any kind. He can't, because the Buffalo Bills, there's no way, have decided on what they're going to do, how they're going to do it. Can they even trade up to get him? There's a lot of variables at play. But they're clearly showing some strange amount of interest in either Neighbors and BT or just Brian Thomas Jr. But I'm telling you, man, I don't know what vibe you get in terms of how they're going to fix this wide receiver room. But at the end of the day, Diggs and Curtis Samuel and Shakir and Kincaid, I believe at the end of all of this, the wide receiver room will look stronger than that. Hello?
Yeah, it very well could. I mean, there's so many things that could happen. Pittsburgh could jump up to get a receiver. I don't think they will. I think they got their mindset on Mims out of but
is Arizona
Buffalo very well could move up.
Is Arizona really Chicago in with Lou Malnati's? Really Chicago in Lou Malnati's? I think I know what you're trying to ask. So Lou Malnati's is in Chicago. That's where they originated from. It's some of the best pizza deep dish in the world. And because Chicago residents migrate to Arizona, like I was saying earlier, Arizona is a transplant state. I would say the majority of people that live in Arizona are from either Canada, Chicago, or like California. But I would say 1 out of every 20 people, maybe more, 1 out of every 50 people you meet in Arizona will tell you they're not from Arizona, which is kind of odd. If you go anywhere else, you won't find that kind of ratio. But whenever I tell people I'm from Arizona, they're like, really? They're always super shocked. And I'm like, yeah, I was born and raised here, because it's nothing but transplants. So Chicago, there's so many people from Chicago here. Lou Malnati strategically placed one of their franchises, and then they turned it into 2 or 3 in Arizona or in Phoenix and Scottsdale. And so I believe they're in Colorado, Arizona, and Chicago only, or Nevada, Arizona. I forget what the other. I think it's Colorado. But yes, Rockout, thank you for the $2.
You know why that, right? You know why that is, right?
Well, weather.
No,
yeah.
Witness protection program.
Oh, maybe that too. that and weather. That and weather. But thanks, Rockout, for the super chat. I don't know, man. I don't know what's going to happen here. I mean, I think what I've said all along is going to end up being true, though. You know, Diggs out. Cap couldn't happen. There's no way it could happen. But he's, you know, even from like mid-season, we did a Diggs is going to be gone. You know, there's 2-3 videos from mid-season that I was like, Diggs is going to be gone. And then yes, Scotty, I'm on Twitter. World of Smitty on Twitter. You're watching me from Twitter right now, Scotty. So, but I think so. Phase 1's complete. Diggs is gone. The impossible happened. The dead cap hit. No way Buffalo's doing this just to get rid of him. They did. They paid to get rid of him. They're paying extra money to get him out of Buffalo. They did it. Now, phase 2, replacing Diggs with what will arguably be better long term. My favorite would be a Dunze. Not going to lie. I like Brian Thomas Jr. I liked everything I was hearing on this live stream. It got me excited about Brian Thomas Jr. And quite frankly, Brian Thomas Jr., who pulled in the most touchdowns in college football last year, 17, would be a marvelous addition for Buffalo. And I think in Buffalo, wouldn't you say if Brian Thomas Jr., here's his stat line last year, Here's a stat line here from LSU. This is, again, these are the LSU boys. JD5, Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr. They're like this. They're pals. And they got on this live stream to just talk a bunch of crap, have a lot of fun, reveal some secrets potentially, whatever. But Brian Thomas Jr. quietly, they made fun of him the whole live stream, but in playful banter, saying, you know, like he's going to go 30, he's going to go 28th to the Bills. You know, like joking around. He's like, I don't want to fall that late, but I'm grateful wherever I go. And they're like, when you shake Josh Allen's hand, what are you going to do? When you catch Josh Allen's touchdown, you're going to cry during your first touchdown when you catch it from Josh Allen. Over and over and over. Look at this man's stats. 68 receptions, 1177 receiving yards, 17 touchdowns. Ron, if this guy lands in Buffalo and Neighbors goes to New York, the New York Giants, I'm telling you, Brian Thomas Jr. is outscoring Neighbors in his rookie year and is going to make a huge case to be better than him long term. I'm telling, like, if those are the landing spots, and people are not going to.
Yeah, it all comes up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love BT. I love BT.
Are you gonna take Daniels? No. Whoever gets to play with Josh Allen is he's gonna elevate him.
Yeah, man. But I won't lie. As much as I love the idea of this, I would much rather have Odunze, because I think Odunze, if he goes to Buffalo, he's the number one wide receiver over MHJ. You know, I guess if MHJ's in Arizona, it's a dead tie. Odunze in Buffalo, MHJ in Arizona. You could argue either one, but if Brian Thomas Jr. was in Buffalo and Neighbors is in New York playing with Danny Dimes in the New York Giants offense, and MHJ's in Arizona, it's MHJ 1 in Dynasty rookie drafts. Brian Thomas Jr. is ahead of Neighbors in my mind. That's how good this guy is. Brian Thomas Jr. is closer to Neighbors than people think. He had 17 touchdowns. His 40 time, wasn't he the second fastest 40 at the combine?
Was he the second fastest or the fastest?
Or was he the fastest? Wide receiver combine 40-yard dashes. Was he the fastest? He might have been the fastest. Let's see. Combine results. Yeah, I think he was. He was either 1 or 2. 40-yard dash. After Worthy, of course. What was he at? Yeah, second. After Worthy. Because Worthy had the 4.21.
Oh, man.
So, he was the second fastest at the 40. Number 1 ahead of Worthy. Here's the time. I mean, he ripped it off. 4.33 official. 4.33 official. I mean, that's insane. 80 Mitchell at a 4.34. Devontae Walker at a 4.36. Worthy obviously had that 4.21 record-breaking 4.21. It's funny how a lot of people don't even consider him a wide receiver. They're just like, he's just a speed guy. Is he a return guy? But he actually has good film. He really does have good film. He should very much be considered a receiver in the National Football League, potential receiver. I know a lot of people want to liken him to, Ruggs or Rager or John Ross, where it's like, okay, is he a return guy? Is he really a receiver? Is Brian Thomas Jr. the fastest wide receiver in the draft class? And Xavier Worthy's a special teams, regulated to special teams? I think his film looks pretty good. I think he is one player that has the speed that everybody usually says that makes you a non-factor. The fastest guy is never a factor. He's just a speed guy. This is Worthy actually has good film. He has good footwork. He's a little bit light. So we'll have to see how that translates. It obviously doesn't hold back a guy like Tank Dell and et cetera. So we can't say that. But I think Brian Thomas Jr., of the bigger name guys, he's clearly the fastest, right? Neighbors says he's faster. I think the combine just proved probably he's not. So Brian Thomas Jr.
Who's the better route runner? And plus, the other things you got there's speed just running the 40-yard, but there's a lot of players that maybe they don't perform the 40-yard dash that great, but their speed on the field during the game is different.
Keon Coleman was the fastest receiver during the drill section. He got to the highest miles per hour, but was one of the slower 40 guys. So it's definitely a great stat that they've added and tool they've added to the combine to have the mile per hour data, as well as the broken down 40-yard, 10-yard increment data, which showed that Jalen Wright, who didn't have the fastest 40 time, had the fastest first 10 yards of the 40 out of all the RBs, and that's a better stat. That is the most valuable running back data you can find. Jalen Wright hits the hole quicker than anybody according to that data. Yep. So it is amazing to have that data. But like Prime says, he's raw. Don't expect anything out of week one. Let me tell you something, Prime. If this guy goes to Buffalo, you expect a lot. He's not some raw talent. Prime, no offense, but no one listened to Prime. Sorry, Prime. I'm overruling you on this.
I love that.
I don't want anybody in the chat to get.
Prime gives me chat.
I don't want people to read Prime's comment and get detoured from this live stream. The objective of this live stream is to inform and educate people on how good Brian Thomas Jr. is, and he comes in and says something like that, he's going to be sent on a lap. If you're not careful, you'll be sent to planet Uranus. Brian Thomas Jr. is not raw. He scored 17 touchdowns in 1177, bro. And he's one of the smoothest route runners and really smoothest player around congested areas in the draft. I don't know what you're talking about, raw. Go watch more of his film. He's the smoothest runner in the entire draft class. When it comes to somebody looking like they're running at like 70%, he looks like he's running at 70%. Smooth as butter. 17 touchdowns. Yeah, real raw project, Prime. Real raw project. 1177 and 17 scores. Really worried about him coming along quickly. Rock out. I love you, Prime, but I'm just putting you on blast there because you're gonna infect somebody by saying that, and I want to make sure people don't listen to it. $5 hauler from Rock Out. Here in Washington, D.C. area, we get a lot of transplants. We got like everyone's sports fan bases. Yeah, that's definitely how it feels here in Arizona. You know who the worst fans are? The Diamondback fans. Because they and the Cardinal fans are pretty bad too because they'll vanish when they play bad. The Suns fans are worse. Like if they're winning, then they come out of the woodwork, and if they're not, everybody has flags on their cars, like Suns flags, and they sport them everywhere when they're winning, but they never do that when they're not winning. So, but Arizona's definitely fair weather. What?
On your IG earlier, when you were live getting your taco earlier, I'm the one that said the UFO because when you had your camera there's light going in and then disappearing in the sky. It looked like. I think it was just some sort of reflection coming off your phone.
Oh, I got you.
The UFO thing was all about.
I got you. Let's see here. Do we have anybody else on the phone line? Dial in if anybody has any questions. I'm sorry I didn't have the phone line up. Somebody might have called, and I didn't see it, but I don't know. Anyway, I was excited to go live on this because of the different pieces that I have. But for JD5 to say he ran a 4.25 was very interesting on this live stream.
What does Buffalo have to move up in the draft? What could they move up to get one of these? Because I don't think Adunia, they can't sit where they're at and expect to get somebody the caliber of Adunia. Dunze.
I mean,
what do they have to move up?
Well, I mean, they could trade future draft capital to maybe make a bold move. Like, personally, I would give up a future first rounder to move my 28 to get a Dunze. They have the 60 overall. They have 2 fourth rounders. They don't have a third. They have a 5th round pick. They have 2 of them, I believe. They have, I believe, 2 6th round picks. They have a 7th round pick. But they could use the 60 and the 28 to maybe move up. Now, I don't know how high that's going to buy him. I don't know how high up you can climb with that in terms of the trade chart and everything. But if you say 60 overall and 28, like, what's that buy you? Does that get you into the top 16? Does that get you number 13 overall? Does that get you number 14 overall? The Saints feel vulnerable because I don't know if they know what they're doing at 14. I don't think they have a plan. I don't know. I don't think they're going after a quarterback. They should. They should go after Penix Jr. But if they're not, the Saints might be vulnerable here. You cut this 28 and a half. You go get 14, and you give up the 60. I'd do that in a second, and then you get Brian Thomas Jr. pretty easily. That would be a fantastic move, and the Saints feel like they would do that. Minnesota's not in the business of trading down this 11. The Jets could. I wouldn't be surprised if the Jets said, "Let's get two pieces here. You know, let's go. Let's trade this 10 down and let's get the 28, and then get that 60. And maybe they take Joe Milton. I don't know if he can even go as high as 60. I would take him. 28. So yeah, the Jets had this pick. I mean, who knows? The 10's too high though. Like, you'd have to give up something more. You couldn't move 28 and 60 for just 10, but you'd have to give up. Well, honestly, I'd give up for a Dunze. I'd give up 28 in a future first rounder, and maybe they kick back a third or something like that. But 28 in a future first rounder for a Dunze at 10. I'd do that in a second. The only problem is you don't know if a Dunze is going to fall there. Probably will, but he's been climbing up draft boards really, really fast, and people are saying he's a top 10 pick. Whether he goes in the top 10 is a whole nother story, though.
So you don't think the Chargers are going to take a receiver? So you get the Chargers both probably going to take receivers, don't you say?
No, I think there's this is a very, very arbitrary number. I'm just throwing, obviously don't know that it's completely weighted this way, but I would say there's a 33.333% chance they take a wide receiver, 33.333% chance they trade it, and a 33.33 chance they take Joe Alt or offensive lineman. Now, everybody's comment to me is always like, they already have a right, tackle. Or a left tackle. They don't need him. They don't need him. Why would they take him? But you can move people around. It wouldn't be the first time that happened. Alt is good enough to where you take him and you figure out the rest. Whether it's moving Slater or whatever. But they could also take a couple other guys there. It's not like Joe Alt is 100% thought of to be the only guy you would consider. Another guy they might really consider, and I think you might hear me talk more about it, is Bowers, because it kind of adds a little bit of a blocking component to it. And so, that will be something that you'll hear me talk more and more and more about in the coming weeks. Then you kind of kill two birds with one stone. I also believe that Harbaugh is going to be thinking like this, okay? This wide receiver class is so deep. We're not about one man. We're about the unit. And if we can go get and address the wide receiver position, which they clearly don't care about because he gave away Keenan Allen for a ham sandwich. I don't know what makes anybody think he values wide receiver as much as using the 5-on neighbors when he went out and just gave Keenan Allen away. So I kind of feel like he's going to say, let me go get a rookie wide receiver later in the very deep rookie wide receiver class. Even if it's Wilson. I see this guy drafting a lot of his own players. A lot of Michigan guys coming in. How do I know so? I mean, they bring in coaches from Baltimore. Did they actually officially bring in JK yet? JK at RB is something they're trying to lock down. Gus Bus from Baltimore as well. This is very obvious what Harbaugh's going to potentially do and how he's going to build it. It's all in-house. It's all in-house, whether it's from his brother or whether it's from Michigan. I think Bowers makes a lot of sense because you could say this wide receiver class is so deep you can go find, I don't believe this, but he's thinking anybody. I could go get a handful of wide receivers that can come in and be amazing for us. You can't go and find a tight end like Brock Bowers, who could also block. So I think there's definitely a component here where Brock Bowers or Neighbors is the 33.3% selection, trading it 33%, and going offensive line is 33%. But Harbaugh's comments recently about how it all starts with the offensive line makes me think that he's going to really strongly consider offensive line at this 5 pick, or trade down and take an offensive lineman. But no, Neighbors.
I think you need a new 33.333% mean.
Yeah. But think about it. Neighbors is what you want. It's what I want. I'm not really saying you, Ron, but like Neighbors is what anybody watching wants. Neighbors is what seems logical. But did Keenan Allen being traded away for a ham sandwich seem logical? Did not bringing in Barkley or Henry or Jacobs seem logical for the one team that's thought of to be probably one of the most run-heavy teams in 2024? Did it seem logical to do any of this? Has any of this seemed logical so far? What makes anybody think that Harbaugh is going to start thinking by our logic? I'm not saying it won't work, Ron. I know your first thing might be like he's going to be successful. Maybe he will. But I'm saying from our perspective for fit, we clearly don't think like Harbaugh. And everybody out there that wants to will one of these wide receivers into this Justin Herbert landing spot, you might be sadly mistaken that it's going to be a lesser wide receiver and he doesn't care about big names. He's about the entire squad. He's a team guy, not a one individual player does this thing. And that's why McCarthy, I think, looks so good, is because he does make it to where the onus is never on one person. So the pressures, it's just constantly spread around. And it worked. It worked great in college. And it may work at the NFL level, but it's certainly not going to be fantasy friendly. And people are going to be really pissed off at Harbaugh in retrospect. They're going to look back on this. Remember when, what's his name? From Jacksonville, the coach that failed. What the hell is his
They've
name?
got a lot of them.
Yeah, the college coach who just came over and failed, and we had to reset the clock with T-Law. And I blame him a lot for the fall of T-Law, because T-Law got set back majorly. What's his name? Blanking out.
What's his name from Ohio State, wasn't it?
What's his freaking name? Somebody in the chat's going to save the day. Not Saban, no. Urban Meyer. Watch your mouth on Saban. Urban Meyer. I'm not calling Harbaugh Urban Meyer. I'm merely saying that the lofty expectation of what Urban Meyer was either going to be or not be, from a fantasy perspective, the frustration people had in Urban Meyer in his offense and how it just did not translate makes me, I'm fearful for people that expect Herbert to be a top 5 or 6 quarterback in fantasy. I'm fearful for people that believe 100%, not saying it won't happen, but 100% that Harbaugh's going to draft one of these wide receivers. Now, if Bowers goes there, I do like it an awful lot, because there are so many targets that need to be occupied that, you know, if Neighbors or Bowers goes to the Chargers, they're going to get fed. They're going to get fed a lot because there's nobody there. Quentin Johnston can't catch a cold, and they don't have anybody. You can say what you want about what's his face, Jordan Palmer. You can say you like him a lot. That's great and fine and dandy, but he's a Darnell Mooney. You know, he's somebody that maybe in a wide receiver 2 role, he could potentially be kind of a little bit crafty. He's just exciting to people because he's a deep roster guy and everybody wants to be right about something like that. He's nothing. He's good, but he's not anything big. You're talking about nobody on this roster, which is why it's so appealing. Neighbors goes there. It seems like no matter how much Harbaugh waters down the offense, spreads it out, plays hard-nosed defense, runs the damn ball, Neighbors or Bowers will consume because there's so many vacated targets. But he's looking at this from a weird lens, and I think people might be disappointed. Maybe not. Maybe Neighbors just go 5. I mean, what if the Cardinals trade out of 4, and let's say the Vikings consume the 4 pick and they go quarterback? I believe Harbaugh will be influenced by MHJ. I just don't know if he's influenced by Neighbors enough to pass on his weird style of building.
Well, this isn't his first rodeo in the NFL. I mean, he did take the Niners to the Super Bowl.
How long ago, though? How long ago?
I know.
You know,
he's not a stupid guy. He knows that the stuff that he did in college everything doesn't go over to the pro game, the NFL. He knows that.
And guys, I'm not comparing. I've already said this. I'm not comparing Urban Meyer and Harbaugh at all. I was just saying that there was an expectation of translation right away that I think people have a lofty expectation that it's going to work out. So
I mean, why did he choose that job? I mean, he could have chosen other jobs, but why did he choose that job over the Atlanta job or whatever? Because Atlanta, they got the running backs already. If he's, why didn't he go after the Atlanta job? You got Herbert there, and that had to be attractive to him. I got a veteran quarterback that knows what he's doing. Of course, he's going to work on his defense and stuff, but it wouldn't surprise me. I don't think he's just going to do just handcuff his veteran quarterback and just run the ball all the time.
Well, I don't, but it doesn't mean he's drafting Neighbors, though. I'm not saying he won't. I'm just saying, he might be looking at Roman Wilson and just saying, that's my guy. That's my guy. He'll be fine. He'll be fine. He's the guy that thinks J.J. McCarthy's the best quarterback in the draft. So, he clearly has that's my guy mentality, and I wouldn't be shocked if he takes that into the situation. And, he coached a long time ago in the pros. This is a different, it doesn't just, I don't think this is going to translate right away. Not to mention, what are his tendencies now? Can he revert back to the pro game that quickly, or is he going to try and bring some new, college aspects to the game? Because the game translates a lot better than it used to. So it's not like everything's going to be the exact same. It's not like you can't bring a lot of what you did over. He's certainly going to try. And I think it's going to be hard-nosed, smash-mouth football, which may work very well. I think it'll be at the cost of a 2 or 3-headed monster, though. So even if they draft Blake Corum, which I think they're going to do probably, Blake Corum, 4 Michigan guys, how many more Baltimore guys, how many more Baltimore coaches? I mean, it's like there's a recipe here that's right in front of everyone's face. But he'll watch him draft Roman Wilson. That'll be his number 1 wide receiver. And if anybody needs evidence of that he doesn't think the way we do, look at the 2 biggest moves that the team has made at the 2 biggest offensive positions that are not Herbert. Keenan Allen given away, Ron. He gave away Keenan Allen for a ham sandwich.
We've all and how old is Allen?
I understand.
Gonna pay
I understand that, but why get rid of him then? It doesn't make any sense, even if he was going to get hurt by midseason, because that's the concern for me, is that he's going to run out of time. Father Time's going to catch up to him. What they got means nothing. It didn't help him at all. Why get rid of Keenan Allen for a ham sandwich? And that's position number 1. Position number 2, you don't bring in Barkley, Henry, or Jacobs. You bring in Gus Edwards. Like that's what I'm saying. The 2 biggest moves so far have been head scratching. And everyone thinks he's just going to be this problem solver from fantasy, and I don't see it. I'm not saying it's a lock that he'll fail. I'm not saying that at all. Anybody that's taken anything I've said and said Harbaugh is going to fail at the NFL level hasn't been listening to a word I've said. Because I've actually said 3 times probably on this exact live stream. Doesn't mean he'll fail. He could win, but it's going to be fantasy disappointment. And he's proven that so far with the 2 biggest offensive skill position non-quarterback moves. with the running back position and the wide receiver move of trading away Allen for a ham sandwich. Even though I believe Allen he's potentially teeter-tottering on that final year. It's crazy to me.
Maybe Harbaugh looked at it like, I really don't want him on the team. He's getting older and this and that. And if I keep him on the team and I cut him, he's not going to feel too good about himself. But if I trade him away, he still might go and have another year or two somewhere else. But
the problem is you just keep someone like that. You let the wheels fall off before you just get rid of them for a ham sandwich. And I don't want to hear about the cap. The cap increases 20% every year. You can maneuver and manipulate it to a significant degree. And running back dollars don't matter. Running back dollars don't matter at all. You're talking about between $5 and $10 million per season that you can easily maneuver, move a lot of money up front, reconstruct one contract. The Niners were in cap hell, one of the worst caps in the National Football League. One of the worst caps. They made 2 reconstructed contract moves, one with Kittle, and I forget who the other one was, and they were middle of the pack in the NFL in available cash. So I don't want to hear it. The cap is fabricated. It's fake. To a degree, it's fake. Granted, you're $150 million over. Something's got to give. But I don't want to hear about a $10 million a year or $8 million a year running back being a salary cap problem, because that's fairy dust. That's not real. As Matthew McConaughey would say, fairy dust. Not real.
Harbaugh was an NFL quarterback. He knows offense. He knows what he's looking for. He knows what type of quarterback.
But Ron, I'm not saying he doesn't.
For that quarterback, and he knows what kind of receivers he needs for that quarterback.
Ron,
you think he's just going to hang out to dry?
Ron, have you listened to a word I've said though? Like, I'm not disagreeing with you. He could absolutely work out. This could work out, but it's going to be fantasy disappointment, is what I'm saying. He could absolutely succeed.
I'm just throwing stuff out there.
No, I know, but people hear me say this and they think I'm telling them Harbaugh is going to fail. Like, I can't be more clear. I'm not saying he'll fail. I'm saying he's going to do it college football style. And whether it works or doesn't work in year one or whatever, he's doing it in a way that none of us would do it. And I'm just saying he's telegraphing to us that there's a really strong shot that what we think he's doing at 5, he's not doing that. He's doing the other thing. He did that other thing with Keenan Allen. He did the other thing with the running back position. And there's just a really strong possibility that this is just not what anybody's going to expect out of Harbaugh. It doesn't mean it won't work out. I can't emphasize that enough. He could absolutely win with this strategy. Again, the college game translates more than it ever has before. So certainly he doesn't even have to necessarily go back to his Niner ways. He could literally still, figure out a way. The Niners have also made more signings, D-Town. But they opened up a ton of cap room off of 2 moves, and they got out of what was considered to be one of the Niner hell. Every team's still making moves, and it's like nobody remembers Harbaugh already had success in the NFL. Who said that? Who said that, Jack? Who said that? Not me. Not me, Jack. You didn't hear me one time say that Harbaugh won't have success at the NFL level. You heard what you want to hear. And anybody in here that's saying that I'm saying Harbaugh is going to fail is hearing what they want to hear. You're the one saying that, not me. If you're saying that in the chat, you're the one saying that, not coming out of my mouth. Harbaugh is just going to do it differently than people expect. And it's crazy to me that he didn't go after an RB, given how much success he could have had with Barkley, Henry, or Jacobs. He's going to do it his way. He's going to do it his way. He's going to have 3 or 4 running backs. He's going to rotate Blake Corum with J.K. Dobbins, Gus Bus. I don't know who else they can get that was a former Raven. But Keaton Mitchell's coming off an ACL tear and he's locked up. But they're gonna they're gonna potentially try and Jack, my bad. They're gonna potentially try and figure out a way to get some more Baltimore Ravens over here. I'm surprised Odell hasn't.
Who's that other running back they had that? God,
Joshua Kelly.
A lot too.
Joshua Kelly.
No, not Kelly. There was another one.
Oh, Hill.
Yeah, Justice Hill.
Justice Hill, maybe. Give him a call. Is he available? Is Bateman available? Can Bateman come? Hi, this is Harbaugh. Can Bateman come play? I don't know.
Red Rover. We call Justin Bateman over.
We will see. It wouldn't shock me if Harbaugh had a 3-man running back rotation. You know your guy. What's his name on a Michigan football team? Very good running back. What's his face? The secondary. Why am I'm forgetting names tonight? My brain is fried. The guy you like on Michigan.
It's the up.
What's his name? God dang it.
Edwards?
Yeah, Edwards. He used Edwards. He used Corum. This is, and while he did use Corum to the tune of what 20 plus touchdowns, obviously, this is going to be a 2-3 headed monster running back rotation. I'm not really all that excited about owning, unless I could own just one, unless I could own, let's say, I don't know who, let's say one of them, and I'm not talking J.K. Dobbins, but one of the 2 running backs that they have in their rotation is like free. I would probably just grab that guy and that guy alone. I don't know.
I kind of want the goal guy.
I think he's definitely going to look. He's definitely going to look to Brock Bowers as a potential. I think he's more likely to draft Bowers than Neighbors, to be honest with you, because you can get some blocking out of that.
We'll know whether you're going to be right about the fantasy part of it or not as soon as we see how they draft.
Yeah.
Because it say everything.
What has he done? What has he done so far that's been predictable though? Nothing yet.
No. So how do we know the draft?
Who's more likely to take the big name guy, Buffalo or the Chargers? And I don't just mean by way of pick. Chargers are the 5 pick, Buffalo is the 28. But like what team? These 2 wide receiver rooms have been cleared out. I believe one of them is on a mission to fill it, Buffalo. The other is, if it's there, it's there. We'll fill it no matter what. We'll find a way. Chargers are going to fill the wide receiver room. We're not worried about it. And don't you believe that if and I don't think Harbaugh is just blowing smoke. Don't you believe if you said, hey, who's better, Neighbors or Roman Wilson? He'd be like, I think Roman Wilson can hang with just anybody in the league. That's the kind of answer that he would give. And I believe he believes it. I believe he believes it. I believe he truly believes that wide receiver position's replaceable, which is why he gave away Keenan Allen. And I'm not saying that it won't work out. I've gone on record saying that the Chicago Bears are going to be firmly disappointed with what they get out of Keenan Allen at the end of the day, but I still wouldn't have given him away. I think Derrick Henry's going to be hard-pressed to run for 1,200, 1,300 yards and score 15 touchdowns, but I still would take the chance that he scores 15 touchdowns on 900 yards and misses 4 games but still plays great while he's on the field. Eckler's got a very small chance of being his old self. I agree, but I love that Washington took a chance on getting him. So again, I do believe Keenan Allen will not be what I believe the Bears think he's going to be. And I think if the Bears, everyone says the Bears have set up Caleb so beautifully. I believe if they don't take a Doomsday Neighbors or Brian Thomas Jr. at this 9 pick and the Chicago Bears punt wide receiver early on in this draft with their 2 first top 10 picks, then their wide receiver room will not look what everyone thinks it will look like at the end of the year. So that's how much I do doubt Keenan Allen, but I still would not get rid of the opportunity at the cost of what you got back. It was not enough. It was not enough. It was not enough. Roman Wilson does look good, says Josh. I mean, yeah, he looks good. I don't hate Roman Wilson. I'm just saying that's what Harbaugh would say. If you were in a room with Harbaugh right now and somebody goes, hey, we got to take Neighbors. We can't be stuck with Roman Wilson. He would be like, I like Roman Wilson better. I almost guarantee you. I don't know. I don't think he's sitting there looking at Neighbors like we are or looking at Odunze like we are. I think he's literally going, offensive line looks great right now. We can, and he's not wrong. Like, it's a fantastic move, especially if you run the ball like Harbaugh. You know, it fits what Harbaugh wants to do. I'm just saying he's not looking at we're sitting there looking at a steak sandwich on the table. Ron and I are drooling over the steak sandwich. Harbaugh's looking at that Caesar salad that's, you know, it's got croutons and ham and turkey to the rafters. It's a nice Caesar salad. There's nothing wrong with it. You'd be happy with either choice. But Ron and I are staring at the steak sandwich. Harbaugh's looking at the Caesar. And we think everyone's staring at the steak sandwich. Somebody says, go, grab your meal. Harbaugh's beelining for the Caesar. And we're like shocked, but that's what he's doing. He's building a Caesar salad. Ron and I are going for steak. MHJ.
I'm tripping you.
Yeah, Ron, you're not getting to that steak sand before me, pal. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'll spin you around. I'll spin you around in your lazy boy before you can.
I don't think so. I'm a pretty big dude, man. I'll tell you.
I still got some wiggle.
You know how much I eat steak too. So,
yeah.
You know, there you go.
That Caesar salad. Harbaugh's just looking at it. Harbaugh takes his glasses off. That Caesar salad looks fantastic. Look at that thing. That's how you build a meal right there. That's how you build the foundation of your day, on a nice Caesar salad. Ron and I are just. The whole fantasy world's looking at the steak sand going, look at that thing. MHJ, Neighbors, Odunze, to the moon. Fantasy worlds are in cloud 9 thinking about Herbert tossing the rock.
Oh, we had a really good steak sandwich last year until freaking Arthur Smith got a hold of them. Mm-hmm. Bijan. He was our steak sandwich last year.
Jeff wants to know your go-to cut. I would say I like the T-bone. I mean, I like a good filet if it's done right. It's a high-end steak restaurant, you know, where there's like not a single bit of steak you know that you couldn't, doesn't melt in your mouth. But like if I'm going to the store and I need to cook this thing myself, I'm going with the T-bone. I'm going with the T-bone. I love the ribeye is good, but the T-bone, nothing like a good T-bone steak, especially the meat right around the bone. I like the meat on the other side of the bone, you know, the small strip.
Yeah, that's the fillet.
Yeah, that's the best part. I need a good steak sandwich place to go. I have one. We ate there last night, but it's pretty pricey. There was a place called Off the Grill that used to be in Arizona. I don't know if anybody ever heard of that in the past or if you had it near you, but it's called Off the Grill. You could get a $13 actual steak sandwich with cheddar cheese on it, on a bun, and I just can't find anything like that anymore. There's nothing in Arizona. There's Habit. Habit has a steak sandwich, but it's kind of like a mediocre job. I just can't find anywhere that if anybody knows somewhere where I can get a steak sandwich that doesn't cost an arm and a leg. I'm not talking about like a $90 steak sandwich somewhere. Someone has a place in Arizona that I could go to get a steak sand, let me know. I'm not talking about Philly cheese steak. I'm talking about steak, real steak. You know, like a New York or whatever on a sandwich.
You guys have a taco place there. That's supposed to have like, I forget. I was watching this food guy eating Americana or American. Have you heard of that?
No. I mean, it's very vague what you just said. Americana. I don't know.
Have like the best taco.
I'll look. Americana. I'll look. You find out the real name. Go look it up and bring it back to me.
That guy Joel Hansen does all the food eating contests.
Find
he
it.
Went in there for one of their.
Find it and get back to me.
He did 24 of their tacos.
I'm getting hungry.
In less than 15 minutes.
I think I need to go to In-N-Out tonight. I'm getting hungry. Get one of those onion wrapped Flying Dutchman.
Are you still in your window?
Am I still what?
Are you in your window? I thought you said you can't. You guys got to do one. So
yeah,
that's gonna piss you off when you get.
I know. I did.
And now you're talking about.
I did. I know, but while we're talking for food so long, it's unfortunate. I'm salivating, and I gotta. I could go for a run. If I go for an extra run, I can do it. I can do 2 Flying Dutchmen. There's cheese on it. I get it, but it's hamburger patty, no bun, cheese on top, a little bit of the Thousand Island dressing. Never hurt nobody, but it hurt me. But I'm gonna go do it. I'll go run. I'll go do an extra run. Anyway, yeah, Ron, you find out the actual name of it. Let me know of the place. It doesn't help. Americana. A nice salad. I'm gonna get a nice. I'm Harbaugh. My name's Harbaugh. I'm gonna have a nice Caesar salad. Nice little salad. You go eat with Harbaugh. He's getting a salad. You know, you go eat with Kingsbury. He wants a steak. You know, Kingsbury wants a steak.
I have salad. I rarely eat salads though. Americano. That's what D-Town Heat said. Americano.
Americano. All right, let me look this up. Americano. Tacos, Arizona. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's in your area.
I mean, that looks like a high-end steak place in Scottsdale, Ron.
No, it's not. It was tacos, dude.
Yeah, this is not that. This is an arm and a leg. I think I got charged just for looking at the website. Okay,
They're supposed to have the best. I forget the type of taco meat that they were.
You talking about
their tacos are. The recipes are brought up from one of the Mexican towns. They're Mexican. They're authentic Mexican tacos.
Are you talking about America's Taco Shop?
I don't think that. I don't know. I had to refine the video and.
You might be thinking of America's Taco Shop, which is good, and I eat there a lot. But it's not. There's still no steak sandwich solution here. But I do like America's Taco Shop. They're pretty good. I think you're talking about America's Taco Shop.
No, I don't think it's called American Shop, but.
Banto says In-N-Out hot dogs are fire. I don't know where you got those. I've called the actual In-N-Out hotline on the live stream, and we asked the man I said, do you have a comment box, like a suggestion box? And he said, yeah, this is at the In-N-Out call center. I did this on a live stream. I called, and I said, can I give you a suggestion? Will you promise me that you'll write it in your suggestion box? He goes, absolutely, I'll do it right now. I want animal-style hot dogs. You have all the ingredients. All you got to do is get a dog, and he said they don't have those at any of those locations. So when a Banto says In-N-Out hot dogs are fire, I've got to call Cap, because I called the actual center, and I said, can you do hot dogs? He said, no, they don't have hot dogs at any location. And I said, can you put it in the suggestion box? He did. He put it in there. He wrote it down in front of me. Everyone was laughing in the background. I said he was live on a football show, and they put a suggestion in. But I've not seen them come up with hot dogs. Animal style hot dogs would be absolute fire. I'm gonna say Cap on a Bantos comment. I'm gonna say Cap because they don't have it. Greatest twist in fantasy football show history. Arthur Smith in Pittsburgh is the greatest twist. Maybe, Andrew.
There it is. Hold on.
In-N-Out hot dogs. Watch this. In-N-Out hot dogs. It's Cap, bro. It's Cap. It's cap. I'm looking at it right now. There's nothing. Nothing online. Nothing, bro. Homemade In-N-Out hot dogs. No secret menu. No hot dogs. In-N-Out inspired hot dogs. It's all inspired. This is Pinterest. You've been on Pinterest too long, Banto.
That's what.
Banto's living on Pinterest. Go get a salad.
It was the America's Taco Shop.
Knew it. I knew it. It's good. America's Taco Shop is good.
He did a challenge there.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Yeah, there's a reason I stopped going to one of the locations near me. Let me just leave it at that. I went in. I don't want to give them bad publicity, but there's definitely like an unsterile situation. It was not appealing. It was not appealing. I walked out. I immediately walked out. I'm definitely not good with those kind of scenarios. And it was not good. It was, let's just say I neither confirm or deny that this was at that place you just said. Let's just say there was a taco shop I went to. Okay, there's a taco shop I went to. May or may not have been the place you said. And when I walked in, guy had a bandaged, bloody hand. Bandaged hand with the blood seeping through on the bandages. Like you could see red, deep red on the bandages. And he had just his fingers coming through the bandage. It wasn't a cast. It was like bandages this guy was wrapping like on the, every couple hours you'd have to replace this thing or it was unsterile. And he was literally making the tacos using this hand with the other hand, and I was watching him make my tacos, and he had this wrap, and it was just soaked in blood, and it wasn't dripping necessarily, but his little fingertips coming out of this bloody bandage that was like dried blood and everything. He was making my tacos. Oh, God. And I literally said, "Come here real quick. Come here real quick. Can I get a refund?" And she goes, "Why?"
Do they have more than one location?
And I pointed over to, I go, "That guy shouldn't be doing that." And she goes, "I'm sorry. Okay, I'll get you a refund." She refunded it. And I walked out and I never went back. The guy's not there anymore. I mean, I'm sure he got well, the manager shouldn't have let it happen to begin with, but man, I'd never been so disgusted in my life. It was I'd neither confirm or deny it was at that location or at that restaurant. I'm just telling you a story. This little story about a taco place that I went to that I may not go to anymore. It was disgusting. It was so gross.
You made it sound though like it was like the place was run down or the kitchen was in shambles or something, but it was a worker there that wasn't being hygienically safe.
Right, but I can't shake it, Ron. I can't shake it that he,
That's just like, I don't eat Taco Bell no more because my buddy told me he don't eat there because he walked in and this is in Texas and the guy with how they have all their stuff out right underneath the thing, and his sweat was dripping into the Taco Bell meat and stuff.
Let me show you how this looked. So he had this bandage around his arm, and it was like this, okay? And it was not a cast by any means, and it was just littered in dried blood all the way. It was just like soaked. And here's his free fingers, like they're free. They were free. He could use them. To make
it wasn't salsa.
And I'm positive. It was a mangled arm, like he got in like a motorcycle accident or something, and he was just sitting there, and his fingers, which were sticking out of this, not taking care of cast. So I highly doubt this guy's washing the tips of his fingers. Not to mention, if you were to wash this thing, mine goes in 100 different directions with germs, and I'm definitely not good with that stuff. And just thinking about him washing it and this getting wet and dripping onto his fingers, and all the germs that would transfer down to the fingertips from washing anywhere near this, if you were even to wash these fingertips. I'm thinking about all this from all the angles. And he's sitting here making my tacos like this. And here's the tortilla. Let me see if I can get let's just pretend this is a tortilla. He's taking the tacos and he's just, he's folding them up, no gloves on, and just taking the taco, putting that one there, filling up the taco, putting it over, and I'm just having like almost a panic attack. I felt a little bit like I was going to turn into Caleb.
Oh man!
And I just said, hey, come here, to the manager. Can I get a refund? Can you refund my money? I don't want to eat here anymore. just these little fingers coming out of this bloody little bandage situation. I'll never eat there again. It doesn't matter if he's gone. Anyways, this specific place, not saying any names, I stopped going there. I'm sure he's gone. This was years ago. But of this particular establishment that I do admit I like, I can't go to that location any longer. So unfortunately, those are out. Once it's ruined, I'm done.
One place that guy was like, you did it on your Instagram, that he was holding the pizza box outside the shop. What was that place?
Oh, Legrand. That's good. Yeah, that's a good place. That's a good place. Come on, Smitty. It was dried up blood. Yeah, it wasn't going. Oh, George from the Bay's been on the phone this whole time. George, you should have interrupted. George. Justin, what's up? I'm sorry, Justin. You should have interrupted.
Oh, shit, no, man. It's your show, man. I'm just doing fucking math homework, bro. You're chilling.
Oh, you're doing math homework. Hey, George from the Bay, call back. I forgot you both were on the line. You guys have been here forever. Justin, what can I do for you? And then I got to go.
Yeah, I just had a question. Fucking Bryce Young.
Watch the language a little. Watch the language a little bit. That's 2 F-bombs in 30 seconds. Go ahead.
That's my bad.
That's right.
Bryce Young just feels free. Like, he feels free this year. And I feel like that's just going to be maybe a correction this summer, but I just feel like Bryce Young this year with Deontay Johnson coming in, and they're definitely going to draft a receiver out of 33 or 39. I just feel like he just feels free. The 2-0 line upgrades, like, late round quarterback last year, like Purdy and Jordan Love were like out of the top 12, out of the top 15, and they finished top 12. And I just feel like this is a great year to punt QB again and take like Kirk Cousins plus like Bryce at like the end of your draft and hammer in like as much as you can in the first 10 rounds.
I don't know. I'm going to let you try that one out. I don't want any part. The fact that you have so many quarterbacks, bro. So many quarterbacks that you can't fit in the top 10. I have no desire to play around with a Bryce Young experiment. I don't like the situation at all. I don't think they brought in anybody. Deontay Johnson is nothing to me. I think they've got garbage there for him. I'm sorry if you're a Carolina fan. That's just how I view. I will say in your defense or in Carolina's defense, I felt the same way about Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay brought it. Okay, so I'm not always right on this stuff. I'll admit it. I'll admit when I swing and I get pessimistic about something, and I talk trash about Baker and Trask, and I had a reason to, because in camp they couldn't throw a football straight for anything. But I think the Carolina Panthers are not set up for success. But I do think Bryce Young's good. I just don't know if he'll hopefully he'll survive long enough. I think he'll do better, but I think my whole point is that you got Joe Burrow struggling to be a 6th, 7th round pick. Like, are we really going to keep punting quarterback past the 6th and 7th round just to see how far we can dig deep into, you know what I mean? Like, you're going to just hammer home at, 6th and 7th rounders? Why not take Joe Burrow? Mahomes is going in round 4/round 5. Mahomes' ADP is 5.1. Like, why would I want to even go deep quarterback shopping when I can get Mahomes at 5.1, when I can get AR5 in that, same like maybe 6th round? Like, I don't need to go deep. I'd rather just grab my quarterback there.
I just think of the value last year with Love and Purdy. I just feel like that's that just sets you up so well. It's like a trade asset. Like, not even saying like take a quarterback in the 7th or 6th or 7th, but I think Bryce Young is a great pick just in terms of like how many good pieces can I have on my teams, and then like how many good assets can I have, and then how can I ship those around? Because I think Bryce Young's gonna be absolutely like free and like bottom of your roster week 1. He could do something. He made Adam Thielen look 26 last year.
I don't know, bro. I just don't think there's any need for it. I mean, look, like Kirk Cousins, Ron's going to lose his mind because Kirk Cousins isn't going to get drafted like a top 10 quarterback, or he's going to be borderline. Like you could get two guys like that and not even need to go near this Bryce Young situation. But I would say, like, bro, try it in one league because your gut's telling you to. But I don't think you're saving anything. The territories where you're still able to pick off quarterback in late in the draft is not gaining you much at all. What's the wide receiver you're gonna get? Like, what kind of name are you talking about that you get to take now that you're waiting on Bryce Young? Like, what possible wide receiver?
All the rookie receivers. Pickens would be great.
Pickens is going.
Jason Williams would be great again this year. I would take Jason Williams.
Yeah, but you can still get those guys. I mean, you're talking about Bryce Young is, but you're talking about you could get AR5 and Aaron Rodgers. You could get, take Bryce Young as your backup, and I think it's kind of what you're saying anyway. But sure, in one league, do it. I'm going to watch you do it. We'll see how it works. Call back and tell me.
Underdog move before the draft. Like, the Panthers are going to draft a receiver either at 33 or 39. And, like, if it's Xavier Worthy, which it could very well likely be at 33, or if they trade up for a receiver with 33 and 39. Because I think that's something that's very in play as well.
Bro,
for them.
I'm not saying Xavier Worthy's going to bust, but that seems such a Carolina Panther move. Let's take the unproven speedster that could bust on us. And I'm not saying
a bit of a homer.
I'm not saying he will, but
I've watched it they play. I think he's going to be great.
This sounds a lot like the same pile of Carolina Panther players. I don't know. I'm not saying Xavier Worthy can't be good. I'm not trying to rip on him too much, but like, that's the player you want. Someone like, you want a Brian Thomas Jr. You want somebody massive, bro. Like, you don't want to play around with that experiment. I like him a lot, but Bryce Young, who's going 188, by the way. He's going 188. He's QB 28. So he's essentially like right where the backups are starting to get taken. Mm-hmm. Give me Fields over. Actually, you want to make a gentleman's bet? You drop any super chat you want. $10, whatever, and then I'll give you a free lifetime membership to the Fantasy Football Show if you don't have one. Do you have one?
I do not have one.
Okay. So you drop a nice little super chat, whatever you feel the need to drop, and I'll do it. And Ron, you remember this? Ron's the elephant brain here. Fields outscores Bryce Young in fantasy points.
I will take that. I certainly will take it.
I bet you will take it, and I'll take it right back.
We will see. All I will say, though, is I think that before the draft, especially an underdog, like, I'm about to pop in there because I think there's just so much value.
Go get it. It's all there for you, bro. It's there for the taking. Go get it. Go get after Bryce Young. Get your Bryce Young on, bro.
If I could throw one more out there.
Yeah.
One more out there.
Can I go out on a limb real quick? Can I go out on a limb and say I'm not going to agree with this one? But go ahead.
Yeah. No, Greg Dortch. Greg Dortch is going off.
Justin, I gotta let you go, bro.
Finish him. Call terminated.
I don't know. Was he trolling the whole time, or is that real?
These late night.
Because it feels like it wasn't trolling up until that moment. Justin, just because I hung up on you doesn't mean that challenge doesn't stand.
Hey, we can't forget, last year you were huge on Bryce Young.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter year to year, bro. I mean,
I know.
I'm not gonna hang myself up on. I did like him a lot. I did, and I still think he's talented, but that situation's dog water.
And I didn't like him like you did. I liked Stroud, so.
Great, George. George from the Bay, you're live.
George.
Smitty, what up, man?
What's up, pal?
What's going on, man? I'm actually calling to, I don't know, you probably forgot about this, and I could probably get away with it, but I'm a man of my word. I'm actually calling to come clean and get good on our bet that we had last year.
So fitting that I got Justin that just handed me a free $10 super chat in advance, and then you're calling to serve me up what I'm owed. What is it, George? What did you and I say in the offseason?
So I made a bet that Trey Lance would start at least 8 games last year, and you said he wouldn't. And you said if I lost that bet, I would have to buy the $99 membership to your program. So what was it? $100? How much? What was the tier? I forgot.
Go to thefantasyfootballshow.com, pal. You'll see it right there.
Okay.
There's the option. When can I expect to see that come through? Next month or so? Next week or so? What are we talking about?
No, I'm going to do it right now.
Look at this. He's going to pay up right now. There should be, I believe there's a $99 option. Hold on, let me just take a gander at the pricing and see if I have any sales on it. So there's only the $199 package on it currently. I can give you, can you email me real quick and I'll give you a 50% coupon for it right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I don't want.
No, you got to add
the what?
There's interest.
No. The deal was the $99 membership. I want to make sure I stay good on. Okay, so hold on.
Sorry, George.
George, email me real quick. You got my email?
No. What's the email?
Smitty at the website. Smitty at
the website. So if he types in Smitty at the website.com, he's gonna get you.
Yep, thefantasyfootballshow.com. All right, email me real quick. I'm gonna email you right back with a coupon code. If anybody does this right now, I'll email them back with the coupon code. You want 50% off the site right now? This is your time. This is your time to shine. This code will not last forever. Actually, you know what? I'll just give it out. First 10 people to use this code, just get it. Okay, you ready, George? The code is LAMB. LAMB.
Lamb.
Like CD Lamb, all one word. That'll get you 50% off of that lifetime membership.
Okay. Oh.
Actually, I had to save it real quick. Hold on, let me see. So yeah, it should work. It should work now. Let me just make sure I have it applied to all the membership levels. Hold on. Okay, yeah. So type in LAM in the coupon code. There'll be a little link in orange. It says coupon or promo. I think it says coupon. You type in LAM and tab out of it, and you'll see the price adjust. Anybody that uses that code gets 50% off anything on the site right now. The Fantasy Football Show.
So I got to create an account on here and all that. And
well, yeah, to have access to a product, yeah, you usually do, George. Unless you want to just pay, you can PayPal me, George. You can cash. You can Venmo me, George, if you want. I'll send you the username and password if you don't want to manually fill it out.
Okay.
Which one do you prefer?
I can send you I'll send you PayPal right now.
Okay. Here's the same address, George.
Sure.
All right. I'll be looking for it. George paying up. Look, I got to give George from the Bay mad props for coming in strong and paying up on a challenge that I completely forgot on. And I think probably the way that the conversation went between George and I was that Shanahan doesn't know what he's doing. He's going to do this and that, and I probably was yelling and screaming about Trey. What were we talking about? We're talking about Trey Lance this year in Dallas.
No. So
Okay.
last year,
Okay.
last year I thought that he was going to start 8 games, at least.
Yeah.
And you said there was no way.
Yeah. Well, I
All right,
appreciate.
so Smitty at thefantasyfootballshow.com, right?
There you go, bro. There you go. Doing it live.
All right, so I'm sending you $99.
99 bottles of George on the wall. 99 bottles of George. Take one down, pass it around, give that man a free lifetime, or 50% off lifetime membership.
99 Georges.
Look at George. Look, I admire this man's honesty. Like, I literally, he just came in and just fessed up to a challenge he lost. I don't think Justin's going to do that.
It's asking for your info, first name, last name, because I never sent you any money.
You can bypass that.
I can bypass that, right?
Yeah, just make sure it's spelled correctly.
Does it show up as an LLC? I think it shows up as LLC.
Yeah, just
LLC,
make sure you
doesn't it?
spell it correctly. George Smitty, Smitty. Make sure you got the full website name in there. Make sure it's .com and not .biz or something like that. The code didn't work for you. Try again, Southwest. Let me do something real quick to the code. Let me just make sure that code. Anybody's trying to use that code right now? Coupon code. Hold on. The lamb code. The lamb chops code. 50% off. That should work. Yeah.
Then there was silence.
Yeah, go ahead and try it again. Applies to the following memberships. Yeah, all the memberships are good. Just make sure you put it in there and tab out. I'm gonna test it right now.
All right, it's sent. $99.
$99 of George on the wall. Appreciate you, George, from the Bay. Paying up, my guy. What a man.
Yeah, man, I'm a man.
Pass it around.
The code works. I just put lamb in, LAMB, it's like CD lamb, LAMB, tabbed out. It went to 50%. It went to 50%. Any product on my site is 50%.
West had operator error issues.
So now what do I do about login? You're gonna create all that for me and send it to me?
Yeah,
email, or what?
I'll send it to you, George. I know it was a difficult proposition for you to create to put in your email.
Yeah.
I will say in running a website like I do, it is funny how difficult it is for people to like log in, remember their password. Like, how many people are like, I can't get in? I'm like, did you click the forgot password button? They're like, no. Oh, okay. You want me to go in and fix it for you? Which I'm in the customer service game, so it's okay. I don't get mad about it, but it is funny.
Smitty, I'm gonna be completely honest, Smitty. Like, I'm excited because I already get so much content just from your YouTube stuff.
Attaboy.
And now that, like, I know I lost the bet or whatever, but like, you're doing me a favor by giving me this membership. You know what I mean? Because now I'm gonna get access to all the stuff that you offer your clients.
Lifetime.
Trade calculator by itself.
Yeah, lifetime membership.
Trade calculator's worth it by itself.
Yeah, lifetime. Yeah, you'll never pay for content again. The video course section I'm working on, I got to drop like 15 videos, but the video course section is going to be loaded with like about 100 and something videos, and those are all privately, marked videos. So there's a handful up already, but a lot trade negotiation, draft a player, not a position, best player available, draft to your strengths, a lot of psychology, trade negotiation 101, trade negotiation 102. And so on. So expect a lot of those. This is all at thefantasyfootballshow.com. Bowl predictions, I'll be dropping a ton of them this weekend. Or this week. By midweek. Weekend's already over.
Hell yeah, man.
Southwest said he tried to get a shirt using the promo code. Well, that's on a whole nother. You see what I'm saying? The customer service game never stops. like people just, no offense. Who was that? Southwest. No problem. I'm not mad at you. I definitely have patience for this. I've been doing this for 20 plus years in the content creation game. But literally, thefantasyfootballshow.com is where you go to get my content. This guy's on the YouTube merch section trying to find a promo code to enter it in to get a shirt. But that's okay. It's okay. I love you all the same. I love you all the same.
On his site, the merch is on YouTube.
Yeah, the merch is not on.
Ron, thought you had the merch.
Well, I have a link to it on my site, but it definitely takes you to a whole nother site. That's going to be the merch site. But hey, Southwest, I'm sorry, bro. I if you thought you could go get the merch, it's actually not a crazy thought of his. He saw a merch link, it sent him to another site, and he thought he could use it. That's kind of on me. Southwest. But I said on my site. That's definitely not my site that takes you to a drop ship, product, like a Teespring type of thing. But I talk about click the pricing in the products on the fantasyfootballshow.com. But it's a good thought. I'm glad you cleared it up for anybody else that might think, oh, there's a shirt I could get. It's Southwest he was thinking the right way. That's on me. Real quickly, thank you, George, first of all.
Yeah, man.
Then that's the answer. No problem. Sorry, Southwest. That's on me. Theo, what's up? And then I got to go. Theo, you're live.
Never mind. I figured it out. I was going to ask how to log in because I just bought the membership.
Attaboy, Theo. Let's see. Theo did just buy it. What a monster he is. You logged in? You're good to go?
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of written content coming this week, so get ready for it, okay?
Yeah, I'm super excited. So,
all right, Theo. You're the man.
All
right, later, bro. Appreciate you. George, I'll see you later, bro. I appreciate you paying up on the challenge, and get ready for a lot of content this week on the fantasyfootballshow.com.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Later, bro. Ron, anything else? All right.
Yeah. He said he needs to get his Bryce shirt.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish I could offer promo codes on those, but those are already set at near the bare minimum. I don't even really profit on those. They're just they're set at a cost to make each one individually, and they drop ship to you. So I mainly do that to have merch, not so much to make money. So appreciate you, Southwest. Sorry you couldn't get a shirt, but any of the written content products on my site, click the pricing button. Anything on the pricing page, you can get using that code. Rock out, $2 hauler. So Smitty makes me do math to log in. Attaboy. I try and keep you on your toes, Rock out. Thank you for the super chat. Rock out to the moon. Rock out dropped a super chat. Rock out dropped another one here. It says here in Washington, D.C. Oh, we already read that one. And Rock out said Smitty makes me do math. And he also said Arizona really. Oh, yeah, I read all Rock outs. Rock out, thank you for your triple super chat. You are the man, the myth, the legend. Rock out to the moon. Ron, we'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, it is tomorrow already.
Not for me.
I'm seeing you now.
Not for me. It's 11 o'clock, and we're going to get some in and out. I'm going to go run. I'm going to get some in and out.
You're really going to go do that?
Heck yeah.
You're really going to go
Heck yeah. I blame it on you.
How can you blame it on me?
Because we talked about steak too long.
Can't do that.
Well, you reminded me.
You said you couldn't.
You started talking about food.
Drink some water.
Yeah, the water does fill you up. All right, Ron, appreciate you. Later.
All right. Later, Smitty.
All right. I appreciate all of you. Thank you for joining me on this wonderful live stream. Southwest to the moon. I'll be getting it Was just going to take advantage of the deal if it could. Appreciate you. Thank you, Southwest. I'm sorry, bro. If you want, I'll even send me an email. I'll give you even a little tiny bit more discount on the content if you need it. For my mistake. Appreciate you all. I'll see you all on the flip side. That news is old, but Derrick Henry should have been a Cowboy. I got that video up. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. But will the Bills trade for a wide receiver or trade up in the draft for a rookie wide receiver? Again, rewatch the video if you just joined. There's 3 video clips I play from an IG live where Brian Thomas Jr., JD5, and Malik Neighbors were on a live stream on Instagram, and JD5 revealed that he runs a 4.25 40. He also kept poking around about the Buffalo Bills being and Josh Allen being the quarterback in the landing spot for one of Brian Thomas Jr. or Neighbor, saying, how's it going to feel, Brian Thomas Jr.? He kept calling him BT, saying, BT, how's it feel to catch touchdowns from Josh Allen, do you think? Hey, BT, what are you going to do when you catch your first touchdown from Josh Allen? Hey, BT, you're going to shake Josh Allen's hand at the draft. And he kept poking fun at it. And then BT said, I'm going to New York in the morning. And they said, you going to the Jets? And he said, no, I already visited with the Jets. Oh, where else are you going? And he wouldn't say. There's just so much poking around from Jaden Daniels, JD5, about his wide receiver, Brian Thomas Jr., in Buffalo, that it just made me come live and just say, hey, this is big. Like, it's big because I think this matches and fits with what I think is going to happen anyway. That the Buffalo Bills were going to get rid of Diggs. I said that for really over a year now. That the Bills would trade him despite the dead cap. They would get rid of him. He's a problem child in the locker room, on and off the field, really. And they did. They got rid of him. And now that they've got rid of him, they're going to solve their vacancy problem. And it's either going to be by Ayuk, or by Debo, or by Higgins, or by way of rookie, and very well could be a trade up to get a big name rookie. See you all later. See you guys tomorrow live when big news breaks. Little 2-hour surprise show on you. Deuces. I'll be on Instagram probably, on my stories at least, showing you my in and out experience tonight. I'm probably going to go run. Maybe I'll get the courage to not get in and out after I run. But damn, I'm hungry.
The Saturn Men.
One small step for man, one giant leap for Saturn.
Spaceman. Spaceman.
Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, live on Big News Break. See you all later.